patient approaches me for a teleconsult. Now, that's the first thing that he has approached me. Now, that's a very important thing when he approaches me. So he's giving a consent for me to manage him. Now, he has a problem. He tells me his history. Over here, I can elicit a history from him. I can go into a deeper questions. If he has what ways and means he has got, either he goes audio with me, or he goes on a video with me, or he goes on an audio visual thing with me, WhatsApp, message. So all these are the various aspects in which he can consult with me. But having said that, once I'm taking the history, I have to look into it. With whom am I talking? I have to verify the identity of the person, and only then I proceed after taking his consent over here. Now, the patient has approached me as number one, as a direct patient, or he has approached me through another caregiver, or a consultant to a consultant approach. So these three are the various approaches that I may be approached for a teleconsult. So on an individual basis, once he has approached me, I only have his history at present. I have not been able to examine him. So that is one of the very drawbacks of the teleconsult at this point of time in the primary care. So when I'm looking at primary care, I need to keep one thing in mind. Whatever I'm doing, I have to stay within the realms of the acts of the medical council, which are as they are existing. So I cannot break those rules and regulations of giving any consultation. So I have to be very sure my diagnosis is correct and I need to analyze it. So first is going to be the history taking. If I can read something, I advise him something, or I can ask for an investigation. So this becomes a primary consult. Then it comes as a follow-up consult. That is.
Can I hold on here, sir? If you don't mind?
Yeah.
Let me clarify what you said. So there is a person whom you have not met before. They have consulted you, and you have taken their history. It is possible that they may have shown you some reports which you can see, and on that basis you are able to give them some advice.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, thanks to the guidelines that have come in now, and they are mixing this, and I'll go the guidelines a little later. What you are saying is
I am now on my laptop.
Thank you, sir. We can hear you, Dr. Vanketkar.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you. Took a little while, but Dr. Vanketkar is here. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that. So, Dr. Gulati, coming back to primary consult, I have taken your history, I have seen your reports, but I'm still limited to the amount of prescription or the kind of prescription I can give you by the MCI guideline which is coming. That's one. So based on this, there are a lot of platforms where there is this whole business of chatting happening. You can chat and ask a question, and then can get an answer for that. Now, under the MCI guideline, the doctors who have been chatting till now, where will they go now? And I would like Dr. Gulati and then Dr. Ravindra to answer this question.
So where will they go now, meaning?
Is this going to be, can they actually advise something? Because they've been advising treatments, creams, beautician,
See, the responsibility of taking a decision and managing will depend upon the wisdom of the treating physician, whether it is in person or online. So this is one important thing which everyone has to keep in mind. So whether you're going to diagnose it and prescribe him, or you are going to manage him, or you are going to ask him any other specific investigation, or you are going to ask a healthcare giver to examine him and give you the information, this will depend upon the wisdom of the person with whom the teleconsult is happening.